भजे रामेणाभिहता निशाचरचमू रामाय तस्मै नमः रामान्नास्ति परायणं परतरं रामस्य दासोऽस्म्यहम् रामे चित्तलयः सदा भवतु मे भो राम मामुद्धर राम रामेति रामेति रमे रामे मनोरमे सहस्रनाम तत्तुल्यं राम नाम वरानने अय्युण् योंग अयौच हयवरट्ट लण् ञमङ जबै गडदश जबगडदश खफ छ छ छ च च तव कवै शशसर हल इति महासूत्राणि. Kalpesh, you want to make Vin an organizer, or who else is organizer? He's already made him, I guess. Okay.
Yes, he's already on.
Okay. All right. Manoj, so I guess the recording is okay? We're all set?
Yes, recording is all set. Manoj is also recording.
Okay. Okay, so last time we were looking at this very last sutram. We ran out of time last time. Just want to go over that quickly. That was the very last point that is being made at 6159 sutram. Let me open up the Ashtadhyayi and show you what we are looking at. We already looked at 6168, Sujidashoho Jhalyamakiti. So that one we looked at. For dhatu Srij and Drish, if we are followed by a pratyaya which is Jaladi pratyaya, which is Akiti, has no kurs and it, and they take the agama. Because because of the Midachontya paraha, it comes after the R, and then becomes Iko and Achi, becomes Drakshati, Srakshati, and Drashta, Srashta, and all that. So the next sutram is what we're looking at here. Let me just bring up the Ashtadhyayi, which I forgot to do. So Ashtadhyayi, you see the 6159, and that is telling us that this is dhatu, which the short to is an upadha, rudupada dhatu, should be anudat in the upadesha. So that also is an important condition. Then that will, the same conditions, jhali, then akiti and these anuvrittis coming down from 6158 to 59. 6158 to 59 anuvrittis coming down. So let me just go there. Okay. Anudattasya charad. So charadupadasyanyatarasyam. So charadupadasyanyatarasyam means anudattasya, means dhato is understood. Cha rudupadasya anyatarasyam. So I think you know by now that the Panini mentions optionality in three ways. He can say either va or anyatarasyam or vibhasha. These three are Panini's ways of mentioning optionality. Or he might mention an acharya's name. It means that, you know, in the opening of that acharya, this is going to happen, others not. That means vikalpa in short. Like Lopa Shakalyasya, Bharadvajasya, and all those kind of things. So they are come. So Anyatarasyam. Of course, there is some slight, apparently there is slight variation in these three optionalities. So Vibhasha actually means is this Bhasha and Vibhasha. The Vibhasha is not the preferred form. Anyatarasyam is the equally preferred form, and Va is the preferred form. That's what people say. But anyway, for us, it is basically means optionality. So here we have the term anudattasya. So we have already seen that in this lesson, in which sutram, the 7 to 10, which told us that, you know, ekacha upadesha anudattat. So that same list which we saw, the karikas which we saw in 7 to 10, we can use for this sutram also. Only those dhatus will qualify for this sutram. So if you can take, let's go there for a second. Let me see if I can, okay, go to our Ashtadhyayi. And what you want to do is that you want to take that list, you know, the Kanteshu, Chanteshu, that entire list, and then from that find out which dhatus have Ru as upadha. Let's just go there for one second. Let's see if we can find some there. So in standard 7 to 10 in the Siddhanta Kaumudi, you have a nice list. You also have in Kashika, but the Siddhanta Kaumudi is a much easier list to follow. So it is a little bit more user-friendly. So in the Vyakhyanam on 7 to 10, which Panini has said, the Ekach Upadesha Anudattat in Nishedha, That's the sutram which stops the idagamaha. But the same condition, anudatthopadesha. So anudatthopadesha is not only for stopping idagamaha. It has some other implication like we are seeing right now. For this agamaha is being, we are seeing that. So let's go to 7 to 10. So what we should do is that we should go to 7 to 10. Let me open that up. And then see which dhatus have this ru as an upadha. So for example, in the, of course it cannot be an ajanta dhatu. Ajanta dhatu will not have ru as an upadha, because clearly there will be a sandhi will be done between the ru and the ach. So those are out. So remaining only halanta dhatus. Halanta dhatus, let's say kanteshu, shakla rekha. So not a single one has, there's only one shakla. So there's no ru as an upadha. Then chanteshu, pacha, mucha, richa, vicha, vacha, vicha, sicha. So there's not a single one in chanteshu which has ru as an upadha. Again, what are we trying to see over here? We're trying to see which dhatus can qualify for 6159. They require to be anudatta upadesha and they require to be rudapadha, which is short ru as an upadha. Means penultimate, should be short is penultimate. So right now, so they can be only one of these 103 dhatus, because they have to be anudatta upadesha. Yeah? Now chanteshu is pracha, that's also is not. Now janteshu, tyaja, nija, srija, srija. So here now we might find srija is one of them. Here we go. So srija is one of them, which we all, that's part of 6158 though. So srija is one of them, that's 6158. So that, we already 6158. So this is how we have to go. We have to look at all these dhatus and find the ones which are going to have ru as an upadha. There will be some in the, let's say panteshu has some of them. Panteshu has, tripa, dripa, so tripya, dripya. So these two will qualify. And in the book he has given us examples of, so basically you look at these 103 dhatus and find which one has ru as an upadha, and those will qualify for the, I think in the book he has given for the murdhanya shakaranteshu krisha, the very first one is krisha. See this one, krisha. That's the book example that he has given. Krisha he has given. And in the talavya shanteshu sprisha. So sprisha he has given. So this one he has given. So these two has taken in the book. So, okay, so let's see how 6159 works. What does it say? It says that if you have the this condition anudatta upadesha with ru as an upadha, then we do the agama anyatarasyam and jali akiti. So that's also the condition. So let's see what the examples in Antoine as he has given. He has given this. Now the reason why it has to be the anudatta upadesha, let's say you take a dhatu like, the there's also dhatu in the talavya shakara, krisha with the talavya shakara. That will not qualify. It will not qualify because if you look at the talavya shakara list in there, what do we have? We don't have the dhatu krisha in here. Oh, Indu has a question. Yes, Indu. Indu?
Namaste, Satishji.
Yes.
Satishji, in this Kanteshu shloka, Sruj and Drush are both listed.
Yes.
So, Sruji, Drush...
They are specifically given in 6158.
Right, I understand. But what's the purpose of having it in 58 when 59 would have applied anyway, right?
59 is anyatarasyam.
Oh, anyatarasyam.
50 is nityakari.
Right.
Yeah.
Nityakari.
They will take nityam will be they'll have only one form.
Okay.
59 will have two forms. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
So, okay, now for the point we're talking about is anudatta upadesha, because if you look at the dhatu krish, which is ending in the talavya shakara, that is not in this anudatta upadesha list. So that will not qualify for 6159. Okay, that's I think where we ended the last class. I was trying to look at these dhatus and we're running out of time, so I just didn't want to rush and do that. So now interestingly enough, in the Bhagavad Gita we have this dhatu coming in the I think in the 17th adhyaya. Karshayanta sharirastam bhuta gramam chetasaha mam chaivanta sharirastam tan vidyasru nishchayan. So in Bhagavad Gita we have there's some Bhagavad Gita has very few Partha Vedas, but this one place there might be a Partha Veda, which is that most of the editions, I think Gita Press probably also have the Talavya Shakara. So Dhatu Krish with Talavya Shakara means to become weak or emaciated. And the Murdhani Shakara means to pull or to draw, like Akarshanam. So that is the, so Karshayanta Shairastham means they weaken me, they make me weak in the body. So Tan Vidhyasu Nishchayan. Okay, so that is going to be in the 17th Adhyaya. I just want to tell you that this confusion between the Talavya and Murdhani Shakara in the Dhatu Krish, here it is. So in the number 6 in Bhagavad Gita 17.6, you see this Karshayanta. Of course, this is a Nijanta form. It's a causative form. But you have this here, which is the Talavya Shakara. So this one will not qualify for, of course, this is a different form. So we don't have a Jhari Pratyahar. So this is a causative form. Nich has been added here. So we have to have a Pratyah which is Jhaladi in order to apply 6159. So this one will not qualify anyway. But in any case, this Dhatu Krish is not in the list of Anudhatu Prisha Dhatus. So we cannot use 6159. Okay, so let's follow the book now. Let's take the example that he has given. So Dhatu, he's taken Krish with the Murdhani Shakara. So let's inaugurate a document over here. So so let us see. When we do the let's see. When we take this one, I'm sorry. Okay, that's what I meant. And then if we take the usual, the Lut Lakara, then going through all the steps, we won't put all the steps on the document. So you do the Halantyam Upadesha Jananasika It, then do Lasya, Tip Tasji. So the la, if you're talking about third person singular, you'll get the Tip Pratyaya. And then of course you have the Lataha Prathamasya Darau Rasaha. Darau Rasaha. So that's the last sutram in 2.4, where for the Prathama Purusha of the Lut, the Tip Tasji become Darau Rasaha. Darau Rasaha. So we already saw that before. So that's 2.4, whatever the last number is, I think it's around, 2.485. Darau Rasaha. So the Tip becomes Da. In the meanwhile, you also get the Shatasi Lutoho. So Shatasi Lutoho. So putting all that together now, if you take all of that, we're going to have this one coming down here. We will get, okay, so let's make it plus the Tas Pratyaya over here. Tas, and then following that, put the Pratyaya Da. Okay, in the Da, of course, the Da is an It by Chutu, and then we have the, so only A remains. Now the reason for having the Da as an It is because we want to use the 64143 Tehe, as I mentioned to you before, even though 61143 is in 64143 is in the Bhasya Adhikaraha, and we don't have any Bhasanya right now because Bhasanya only comes with Swadishva Suranamastane, Swadishu, means that starts from 412 to end of 5th Adhyaya. We are right now talking about Dhatus, so these are all these Pratyas are coming in the 3rd Adhyaya. So when you're talking about these Krit Pratyas, there is no question Krit Pratyas or in the Lakara in Prakriya, there is no Bhasanya. There's no Bhasanya. But still we want to use 64143. So the argument is that because Panini has put Da as an It, it can Anyat Prayojanam na samavati, there cannot be no other use for that. So then from the Vyakhyanam we understand that Dit Karana Samarthyat Avasyapi Ter Lopaha. So even though the Anga has no Bhasanya, Tathapi Tehe Lopaha. Because of the fact that otherwise the Da as an It will have no Prayojanam. I know we went through this before, I'm just repeating it today again because, so Tehe is what we want to use here, 64143. So then what we have is that, let me put that here, 64143 extension. And then we copy this down. So that's going to remove the As of the Tas, of the Krish plus Tas, we have a Krish plus Ta we're going to get. Now then we have to ask the question of, this is Anit Dhatu, so no Idagamaha. And now let's see if all the conditions of 6159 are satisfied. We are going to have the, we do have the Jaladi Pratyaha, which is the Takaradi Pratyaha, Jaladi Pratyaha. and is also akiti. There was no ka as an it anywhere here, so we have that. And so, and the dhatu krish with the murdanya shakaranta is in the list of unadhatu dhatu. So everything is satisfied now. So you're going to get the anyatarasyam. So that's why in the book he has given you these two forms. Is anyatarasyam. So one when he's put the and one without the So krish becomes karishta or krishta. So in one case when you do the agamaha, we go the midacho antyatparaha. So agamas generally have these 3 it letters. One of these 3. They either have the t as an it, or the k as an it, or the m as an it. In fact, that many times is a indication that something is an agama. Why do we need that? Because agamas and adeshas both are going to be in the sutram. They will have vibhakti of prathama only. So sometimes there's a confusion whether something is an agama or is an adesha. So if you have this m as an it, or t as an it, or k as an it, and if there is a choice between agama and adesha, then you can probably decide in favor of agama if it's going to have this k, t, or m as an it, and the sutras are adyantau tekitau and midacho antyatparaha. So they come, I think, in 1140ish somewhere there. So yeah, adyantau tekitau midacho antyatparaha. So the will go after the last ach in the term. And I'm repeating a lot of this, but this is good for you. Keep on repeating. That's the way you make your knowledge firm. So when you do the agama pakshe, there are going to be 2 forms now. So the first form is going to be when we take this down, and we'll make it the so kru is going to, so the last ach in krish obviously is the ru, is only one ach, which is the ru. So we'll take kru, and then here we'll put in between there the agamaha. And then we will have it like that. And then between the r and the so this we applied 6159 over here. And then we will then use the ikuvarnachi, which we all know. So 6177, and make the repha adesha become crush. So after doing all the sapada sapta adhyay karyam, what we have is we will have crush plus ta. Then finally you have to do the shtunashtu. Because in the contact between the dental and the murdhanya, the dental is weak. So we're going to get the, so apply eco energy first. This becomes kra. And then finally you will use the, then use 8441, which is the shtunashtuho, to get the final form, which is going to be the krashta. Interesting, this is the same form you'll get when you use the trish pratyaya also. Be very careful, as I mentioned it before, is that the this third person singular lit lakara form in parasmay padam is the same form as you have with the trish pratyayantaha in the prathama vibhakti, pullinga ekavachanam. Pullinga ekavachanam samana rupam. In fact, the first 3 are the same. Krashta, Krishtaro, Krishtara have the same form as, Trichanta. So Krashta means, he shall pull or he shall draw. He, she, it. Or Krashta can also be the masculine, the one, the puller or the drawer. Actually, in Gita also this interesting thing comes only in one place. You won't spend too much time. If you're interested, you can go through all the Vyakhyanam on that. But there is this confusion between whether a form is the lit lakaranta is a tinganta form or it is a subanta form. See, every word ultimately, every finished word, if you call it like that, has to be either a tingantam padam or subantam padam. But sometimes they can be it can go in either bracket. Like a word like gacchati. Gacchati is, of course, most of the time we say gacchati, we know lat lakara, it is prathama purusha ekavachanam. Doesn't have to be. It can also be saptami ekavachanam or gachat pratipadikam. Okay. So now whether something is tingantam or subantam is not cast in stone. It may depend on the context. But ultimately it has to be, in one meaning, it has to go in one department or the other department, tingantam or subantam. Now in Gita is one place where I'll show you where you have this, and sometimes the kavis, they'll start to play on this thing. of trying to juggle these forms between Tingantam and Subantam just to have some fun. But let's see in Gita, because Yudhyasva jetasi rane sapatnan. Krishna tells Arjuna that, Yudhyasva, you fight. Jetasi rane sapatnan. So you shall kill the enemies in battle, or you are the victor of the enemies. So now this one in Bhagavad Gita is this form, Yudhyasva jetasi. See, this jetasi could be, of course, taken a little, which is mostly, I think, even the Shankara Bhashyam, Jaishasi, he says, is this future tense only, he says. So Jaishasi. So that is what he says. But you can also take is Jeta Asi. You are the conqueror. Of course, the problem comes is that when you try to account for Sapatnan, now Sapatnan is a Dvitiya Bahuvachanam. There is no two ways about it. So this will fit very well as the karma of Jeta Asi. You shall conquer the enemies. If you make a Trijanta, then you have a problem. Then you should be killer of the victor of the enemies. But there is a pratyaya called Trin also, which you can use and justify the Dvitiya over here. Anyway, not going into too much detail. This Jeta Asi form, just like other places, can be split up as Jeta Asi, you are the conqueror, or Jeta Asi means you shall conquer, in both ways. Okay. So the form Krashta over here also same thing. Krashta will give the same form, whether that he is the one who pulls, the puller, or he, she, it shall pull. Krashta. Okay. So when you don't do the amargama, then it's then you have to do the samanya prakriya, where all you will do is the puganta lagu upatasya. Not going through all the steps. Basically, the urandraparaha. So we will make it urandraparaha. When we do, we'll get the. I'm sorry, I lost the. Okay. Let's see. Krishna, I made it. Okay. Okay. So what we have then is that we will do the. We'll make it karas. And then, of course, the Murdhanya Shakara, and then we have the same thing, so become Karshta, become like that. So that's how we get the second form. So here only all we are doing is doing the Puganta Lagu Patasya Uranda Paraha, and there's no Amagamaha, so that's what he gives the second form, or the first form, either way, it's Anyatarasya. So or no Now quickly going through the Rit Prakriya, also the same thing. When you skipping some steps, instead of tas, you get the pratyaya sya. So when we get sya pratyaya, give me 1 second here. Okay. So what we have is the. Let's see. Let me try to do that here. So let's see. We'll put the same dhatu over here, and then I'm sorry. Give me 1 second. This one is going to be okay. So we start with the same dhatu, make it krish, plus bring in the sya instead. Again, we already checked this is in the list of anudhatu upadesha dhatus, novidagamaha, because in the eka upadesha anudhatat in nishedha, and then you put in the tip pratyayaha. So here also let's check all the conditions. The sya doesn't have ka as an it, it's a jaladi pratyayaha. So 6159, the condition is satisfied. The dhatu krish, the murdhanya Shakaranta does have the ru as an upadha. It is in the list of those 103 dhatus. Everything is satisfied. So when you do the when you do the agamaha, again, midacho paraha, put it after the ru. So you're going to do the echo and achi. When you do that, you will get the form kra and sha plus syati. Now I think we saw last time what happens here is that the so this will end the Sapa Saptadhyayi Karyam Samaptam. Always keep this in your mind. Always when you apply any rule, always know where you are. Are you, most importantly, are you in the Sapa Saptadhyayi, are you in the Tripadi? Because if you cannot go to Tripadi Karyam until you finish all the Sapa Saptadhyayi Karyam. Not only that, within the Tripadi, you have to go step by step. The first rule gets the first chance, second rule gets the second chance. You should almost look at it like a different color or different font when we go to the Tripadi Karyam. So far we only applied did the Ammagamaha that's coming in the Sapa Saptadhyayi, everything else is so far Sapa. Now we have to apply the Sandhi rules which are going to come in the Tripadi Karyam. And there we get the rule with Shadokasi, which we saw last time. Let's look at it one more time. Shadokasi, this Tripadi is, you have to travel the Tripadi very carefully, because there is a lot of interaction there between all these various rules. So let's try to do. I'm sorry. Give me 1 second. Okay. So let's go. I think it's 8.2, around 40 something will be this one. Shadokasi. It's all coming after the 8.2 Shadokasi. So what does that rule say? The Murdhanya Shakara, if you have, or the Dhakara, then if followed by the the Danta Sakara, they become Kakara Adesha. So either the Murdhanya Dhakara or the Murdhanya Shakara followed by Sa, they become into Ka. That's a simple Sandhi rule, Shadokasi. So that's 8.241, Shadokasi. We already used this last time. Refresh your memory. So now use 8.241, Shadokasi. So let me copy this down. So all that's going to happen now is that you're going to get this. Okay, so this is going to become into Ka. And once that happens, then we can apply the Adesha Pratyayoho. Adesha Pratyayoho, because let us check that, because the Sya, the Sakara of Sya is a Pratyaya Avayava. It is part of a Pratyaya. So when we're trying to apply 8.359, which says that if you have a letter of the in Pratyahara preceding or the Ka Varga. Right now we have Ka Varga, because we have Ka plus Sya. It's followed by a Sakara, which is either an Adesha or a Pratyaya Avayava, these two conditions. In the Sya, the Sakara is a part of the affix Sya, clearly. It's a Pratyaya Avayava. Avayava is in a Bhaga, Amsha. It's a part of the Pratyaya. So everything is satisfied. We can now use 8.359 and make that Talavya, make the Dantya Sakara into Murdhanya Shakara. So let's do that. So use 8.359 and then change the Sya, make it into the Shya. So then and then finally when you join the Ka and the Murdhanya Sha, you get the Ksha. So Krakshyati. Okay, so let me just put that here. All right. So the final form will be Krakshyati. Okay. Prakshati. And if we don't do the Amagamaha, then Pakshe, then the same thing as before. All we have to do is the Puganta Lagupatasya, the Uran Raparaha. So you'll get the second form. So this is with the Amagamaha. So second form will be you'll get the will become Karkshati. So same thing. Kshati. Okay, so that's what he has given in the book. So those are the two forms. So Karkshati or Krakshati. So Dhatu Sprush is the same steps we go to in that. Only thing in the Dhatu Sprush is that when we right now we only have a Talavya Shakara in Dhatu Sprush. So also in the list of 103 Dhatus, which are Anudhatta Upadesha Halanta Dhatus, it has the Ru as an Upadha. So everything is satisfied there also. Only thing there, what happens, we have to use when we follow the same steps. So let's go to the document here. We have to just use one more sutram. Let me put here. So this is without the put here because 6159 is optional. Okay. Now Dhatu Sprushvan is follow the same steps. Let's say when we do the Ammagamaha, it's going to become and do the Yan Sandhi. So we'll skip some steps here. So become Spra, and then we have Talavya Shakara only there, and then we have if we're taking the Lut Lakara form, then we have the Ta after doing the Tehe, T Lopa and all that. So Sprash Ta. Now here what we need to, so now we have finished the Sapa Saptadhyayi Karyam. First we have to get the Murdhanya Shakara over here. Right now we only have the Talavya Shakara. So we have to use Sutram 8.236, Vrashche iti Shaha. So what does that sutram say? 8 to 30? Vrashcha, vrashcha is a list of 7 dhatus. So 8 to 36 says list of 7 dhatus. Vrashcha, vrashcha, srija, mrija, yaja, raja, braja, chasham, shaha. So this any dhatu in talavya shakara followed by jali padante. So jaladi pratyahar padante. There also becomes murdhanya shakara. So this is the extra step required for dhatu sprish, because here we only have a talavya shakara. In the prior example, we already had the murdhanya shakara. The krish we did before, it already had the murdhanya shakara over there at the end. This one does not have. This is talavya shakara. So here we need to first use the 8 to 36, and then the same steps as before. Once we use 8 to 36 to change the talavya shakara to murdhanya shakara, once we do that, then after that it will be the same steps as we did before. Okay, so then we do that, and then of course the stunashtuhu. So we will get the final form, which is going to be the we're going to have let's see, sprashta. Okay, and again the same thing when we don't do the ammagama, then use the usual puganta lagupadasya gunaha uranraparaha sprashta. So this is what the book has given. Look in the book, the two forms he has given, sparshta and sprashta. So here we do the sparshta. Okay, so that's what the two forms that we get. Now, one thing which I also mentioned to you was that anytime we do all the lakar prakriya, always make it a habit to double check these answers that you get from this is the two places you want to go. Of course, the dhatus which are there in the Bhaymi Vyakhya, you can go there directly, or you can look at the Madhavya Dhatu Vritti. The Madhavya Dhatu Vritti which is there has in the very first few lines, he gives you the lakara forms. Let's go there for a second. I'm only getting my hand here, and let's see the Tudadi Gana is page 588, and let's hope that he confirms the answer that we got. It's always a good habit. It's a good habit because this lakara sometimes there are alternative forms, there are different forms. So yeah, he says yes.
There's an online copy also now.
Oh, his online copy also there. Thank you, Kalpesh. So there is a krashta, karshta, krakshati, karakshati. So he says jali akiti, anudattasya chaladupadasya iti pakshike amagame yarnadesha. See how beautifully he says jali jalyakiti. Then he gives a sutra number also, anudattasya chaladupadasya ityadina pakshike amagame yarnadesha. So it is an optional form, and you have to do the ammagama, which is pakshika, which is only pakshe, so it gets only optionally, and yanadesha. So we should always check your answers from that book. Very very good habit. It's one of the books which has almost no typos. That's what otherwise we have so many typos are there, we don't know where to go. So the one I'm looking at is the one by the Ramlal Kapoor Trust, which is the Madhavya Dhatu Vritti. Of course, he will not give the all the 9 and 18 forms. He'll give you enough to to make sure you don't have any mistakes. When you do the same thing in the lit lakaraha, you will get the same as before. Just as we had the krakshati, you're going to get the sprakshati. So you're going to have the when you do the ammagamaha, you're going to get sprakshati, and when we don't do the pakshika ammagamaha. And the reason I ask you to look at these books is that your language also improves because they use words very beautifully. That's really, Shuddha, Devavani, because you want to learn how to speak like them also eventually. So let me see, Sprakshati. Okay, so all the same steps. The only extra step here is that we use the Vrashcheti Shahada 8 to 36, otherwise same steps as before, Sparkshati. So I think that ends this lesson. That ends this lesson. Now let's see. Let's go to the homework. Go to the homework, and I have to use the next page. Okay. I think we'll take the vocabulary as we need it, so we don't have to do all the vocabulary right now. So that I think Kalpesh has also put this on the document itself. Thanks to Kalpesh, so we have it right here. So we'll take it from right here. So Ayuh Prashne Dirgham Ayurvacham Mohurtikaye Janaihi Jivanto Bahumanyante. Is there a typo here, Kalpesh? Manyante, I think. Mritaha Prakshanti Kampanaha. Okay, let's see, because you see, the reason is Jivantaha is a plural form. We'd expect a plural verb. So should be probably Manyante, I think should be the form. Yeah, Manyante. So please make the correction. Okay, when you want to do the Padacheda over here, he has used some compounds, even though we have not studied compounds. But we will take whatever we can learn. There's some easy ones here. So Ayuh, the word is Ayus. So Ayuh Prashne. So Ayuh Prashne is a Samasaha. It's going to be a very simple Shashti Tatpurusha Samasaha. So when it comes to, in reference to, this is going to be a, Prashnaha is a masculine noun. When you have a Tatpurusha Samasaha, it is always, I shouldn't say always, but most of the time it is going to be Uttara Pradhanaha. Uttara Pada Pradhanaha. So the Prashnaha is the Pradhana Padam. Not only that, in the Karmadha, in the Tatpurusha and Dvandvas, the lingam of the samasa is the Samastapadasya lingam is the same as the Uttarapadasya lingam. So, and there's actually Pani has a sutram for that also. Is Paraval lingam Dvandva Tatpurushayoho. Paraval lingam Dvandva Tatpurushayoho. See, Pani does not cover the topic of lingam exhaustively in Ashtadhyayi. There is a appendix called Linganushāsanam, where there are a lot of things that are given. But Panini does have a few sutras for lingam. And the one, a lot of them come in the beginning, I think beginning of 2.4 is this section Panini talks about. And this Paraval, I'm mentioning this here to you is because Ayuh Prashne, because if Ayuh Prashna is a Tatpurusha compound, then you can happily, the word Prashna is a masculine noun. So from that we can yes, Paraval lingam Dvandva Tatpurushayoho. So by 2.4.26, and we've not done compound yet, but by 2.4.26 you'll realize that the lingam of the entire compound will be the same as the lingam as the word Prashna. Because Tatpurusha, as we said, it's a question of longevity. Life means longevity. Means how long you're going to live. So Ayuh Prashne. So Ayuh Prashne is Shashti Tatpurusha. It's going to be Pullinge Saptami Ekvacham like Rame, Ramavat Shabdaha. And but what's interesting in this sutram, and in this word Prashna, which rule that is not been applied over here? Of course, there's another rule which stops it. Which one do you think it is? Anybody in the class?
Shatparasya Shrutam.
Yeah, so Kalpesh already gave the answer, but the Stohosh Chunashchuhu. Because remember we said that if you have a Dantya Talavya, Sanyogaha, then the Dantya becomes a Talavya Adesha. Stohosh Chunashchuhu. Yeah, Vasu has a question. Yeah, I think Vasu get it.
Hanji.
Yes.
I have a question on this Prashnaha.
So you have Prashna and Prashna.
Yes.
Okay.
Stohoshchunashchuhu. Sakara tavargayoho. Shakarascha vargabhyam yoge shakarascha vargaustaha.
Correct.
Ramashchete is one of this one with Paimi Vakya.
Correct. Paimi Vakya. Correct.
Yeah. Here it is the Stohoshchunashchuhu in I could not understand why it would apply for Prashna because it is not Sakara tavargayoho. It is
the Nakara is a Tavarga. Nakara is a Tavarga.
Yeah, I understand that, but it is the Shakara, not Sakara.
No, the Sthani can be either the Sa or Ta, Tha, Da, Dhana. One of these 6 gets replaced. We have one of them which is Na. The Sthani means the place of operation is either Ta, Tha, Da, Dhana or Sa. So we have Na in our case. It should be in contact with either one of these 6, which is the Talavya Sha or the Cha, Cha, Ja, Ja. So So we have
So the contact can be either before or after.
Yes, because that's what Tritiya is being used.
Okay.
Not Saptami or Panchami. Tritiya is being used.
Yeah, he does say that it is Nisheda Shat.
Shat, yes, that's what I was trying to point. Shat.
Yeah, that's why I could not understand why it was a Nisheda.
That is one of the ways that they also figure out that this can be on either side, because if you take it then if you say that the Talavesha has to follow, then you don't need Shat. You understand that?
Yeah.
You see, also the interesting thing is that in this sutram, not to spend too much time, but how do you know this is Yatha Sankhyam or not? The interesting thing about sutram is that what is Yatha Sankhyam respectively? What is in the sutram respectively and what is not respectively?
Yeah, here it should be na should be nya, right?
So the adesha Yatha Sankhyam adesha, right? When you make the substitution, that is Yatha Sankhyam.
The fifth place.
Yeah, the ta will become cha, the tha will become cha, and so on, right?
Yeah.
But the contact is not Yatha Sankhyam. You understand that?
Uh-huh.
That that the sakara or tatadana can come in contact with any of the talave shakara or cha varga. So the contact does not have to be only between sa and sha, ta and cha, not like that. Even in our case, what's the contact which we have? We have contact between the talavya shakara and the na. Now if you take ta the na, and because if you look at stohoshchuna, so now one can argue that it has to be a contact between sa and sha, or ta and cha, or tha and cha. Only those contacts are allowed. Or can the sa contact with any one of those 6 talavesha or cha cha jarinya? So can the contact between be any one of these contacts? And this sutram Shat tells us that the fact that Panini is saying Shat, right? The fact that Panini is saying Shat is that otherwise you will not need to have this kind of a nishedha. So that means that tells us that this does not have this yoga. The yoga is not Yatha Sankhyam. Only the adesha is Yatha Sankhyam. So that these following sutras here clarify that. Otherwise these sutras will not make sense.
Bear with me, please. Can you explain one more little thing related to this?
Yes.
And that is, he brings about the Purvatra Siddham, Apavado Vachana Pramanyat iti Bhashyam, with respect to this. And why is this Purvatra Siddham here?
Okay, let me see. Which page are you looking at?
100 by me.
Volume 1, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because anyway, we are in Tripadi section, so
we are
So we are in Tripadi section, so Purvatra Siddham will apply. So this rule has to wait for all the entire, the Sapara Sapta have to be done. Then only we can do this one. Okay, let's see. Purvatra Siddham, Jaksha, page 100. You're saying, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Sanaki Sutra, Purvatra Siddham. Okay. What he's saying here is that, see, the sutram Shat is a nishedha, right? First Chunashcho. You understand that? Now, one can argue that this sutram Shat cannot even come for application because it's a later rule in the Tripadi.
8443.
It's 8444 is Shat. The Stosh Chunashcho is 8440. Correct?
Yeah.
So one can argue that that 8440 doesn't have to worry about 8444. It's a later rule. So then Shat cannot stop 8440 because 8440 has a first chance. It's going to apply. It will not wait for 8440. If you do that, then the sutram Shat will never apply. Will have no use. Because the Purvatra Siddham says in the Tripadi, you give each rule one chance. It doesn't care about later rules. You can only look at only look at this rule. Don't have to worry about later rules. So 8440 by Purvatra Siddham, 8440 does not have to worry about 8444. You understand that?
Mm-hmm.
And so therefore one can argue that the sutram Shat 8444 cannot stop 8440 because Purvatra Siddham. Because Purvatra Siddham is whatever 8444 says, 8440 does not care about it because Purvatra Siddham. But if you start arguing like that, then the 8444 is an apavada for 8440. That 8444 will never have a chance. Will never have a chance will make no sense. So basically, what the Shastriji is saying is that apavadas can come anywhere. They can come. They may also be asiddham involved, but they have to be given a chance. Because if they're not given a chance, they will not apply. So
and they cannot be thrown out, is it?
See, otherwise they should be removed from the Ashtadhyayi.
Okay.
If a sutram never applies, it should not be an Ashtadhyayi.
Okay.
So that is apavado vachana pramanyat. But the fact that Panini has said shat, that must have some use somewhere. That can only have use in apavada for 8440. So even though that the shat is asiddham compared to 8440, we have to override the purvatra siddham to give the apavada a chance. Otherwise it will never apply. That's basically what he's saying. So that is the vachana pramanyat. Vachana pramanyat means Panini has composed a sutram, it has to have an application somewhere. So that's what it means. So anyway, so I hope I answered your question, but you can
thank you very much.
So in the word prashnaha, but the sutram shat says that if you have the talavya shakara as the first member, then it, this tavarga, because anuvritti of toho is coming down. So the other subtle point which I was making was that in this 8440, the stosh chunash chuho, the yoga is not yathasankham, but the adesha is yathasankham. And the nyapaka for that is that the sutram shat is giving us the nishedha when the talavya sha is the first member, the tavarga is second member. If the yoga was yathasankham in 8440, we would not need shat. I hope I'm conveying myself, is that if in 8440 that yoga means the combination was yathasankham, it was respectively, it would only allow the combination of sa with sha, ta with cha, tha with cha, and those 6 combinations will be allowed. In respectively combinations only would have been allowed. And if that was the case, we will not need this sutram shat, because here we are talking about the combination of the talavya sha with the tavarga. So this tells us that in 8440 that the yoga is not yathasankham. The yoga can be with any one of those 6. With any one of those 6 can come into contact. So the sakara and the tavarga, which is 6 items, they can come. Any one of them can come into contact with any one of these 6, which is the talavya sha or the chavarga. They will still, but the adesha is yathasankham. The ta will always be replaced by cha only. The sa by sha only. So the adesha yathasankham respectively. Well, there will be confusion. The adesha has to be yathasankham. Otherwise, it will be sandigdham. There will be a doubt in that. So of course, the vidhi, the rule has to be, cannot have give us 6 different forms. So the adesha clearly has to be yathasankham, but the yoga has not, and that is conveyed by the sutram shat. Anyway, right now, for example, the sutram shat applies to stop stosh chunash chuho. The only thing I was trying to point out to you is hopefully you're thinking about these things, because the moment you see this dantya talavya sanyogaha, you have to always click in your mind stosh chunash chuho. So this is the exception to that. Okay, so ayush prashne we talked about this is sashita purushaha, sparavallingam, danva tatpurushayoho. So this is going to be ramavat shabdaha. So ayush prashne. Now the next question comes, the saptami bhakti is there. So what kind of saptami do we have here? Is that saptami pani says adhikarane. Saptami adhikarane. Adhikarana means in the locus of the action, the place where the action is taking place, and that can either be deshavachak shabdaha. Like so, Bharat Deshe Vasamyaham, live in Bharat Desha. It can be Kale also, Dine Bhunkte, he eats during the day, or it can also be Vishay Saptami. So this is not a Desha Vachaka Shabda, it's not a Kala Vachaka Shabda also. So Ayush Prashne means it can be, in reference to, or in English you can say when it comes to. It's also a good translation. When it comes to a question about longevity. That's so that's the meaning of Ayush Prashne. So when it comes to that question, in regard to that, in reference to that, so Vishay Saptami. Dirgham Ayur Vachyam. So Dirgham Ayur Vachyam. So Dirgham Ayur Vachyam is all going to be, this is a passive form, because look at the next word, Mauhurtikaihi janaihi. So that karta has gone in Tritiya Vibhakti. Okay. So this vacham is what is called as a kritya pratyaha. It is a potential participle form. So dirgham. See, ayus is the noun over here. The dirgham and vacham, they are adjectival forms. So they are taking the gender and number from ayus. So ayus is a sakaranta napumsalinga shabda. It will go like ayuhu, ayushi, ayungshi. So the ayur actually is a napumsakalinga. Prathama ekvachanam. This is not like guru shabda or like dhenu shabda. They end in short u. This is a sakaranta pradipadikam. We should look at the document. So the pradipadikam here, the pradipadikam is going to be the pratipadikam is ayus. We have to get some practice. I mean, how do you know that? You have to look up the dictionary, or you have to have some practice. Otherwise, you'll not immediately know how the word ayus is, or you know how the word is derived. For us, so pratipadikam is ayus, and it's a neuter form. Pratipadikam is ayus, and it's a sakaranta napumsakalinga shabda. Sakaranta. So the more reading that you do, more practice you have, you can get. So this is the napumsakalinga. So I just put napu. Okay. Okay. Now napum. I guess my napumsaka. Linga shabda. Okay. Now napumsakalinga shabda. So these two are the dirgham and the vacham are adjectives to that. Now this vacham is a passive form. That is why this mahurtikaihi and janaihi has gone in Tritiya Vibhakti. Now how do we know that? The very first thing which Panini starts in the Krit Pratyaya is this section called Krityaha. Krityaha is a subset of Krit Pratyayas. Krit is a much bigger section, of course. Krit means all participles. Roughly speaking, in English, Krit Pratyaya means participles. Start from 3193, Krud a thing. The Krud a thing starts from 3193. So that goes to the end of the third chapter. Within that, the section Krityaha. Also, I mentioned to you before that Panini uses these terms of the Purva Acharyas, which is that they tend to take the form of the Dhatu Kru. So whatever the Dhatu Kru, whatever form it was in that particular instance, that become a generic name for that class. The Krit Pratyaya itself is a Krit Pratyaya. The Krit is itself a Krit Pratyaya. Same thing with Kritya. The Kritya itself is a Kritya Pratyaya, is a Kritya. So the Dhatu Kru will give the form Kritya when you add the Kritya Pratyaya. So that Kritya became a generic name for that class. So this was, I think, the style before Panini. So he mentions, he keeps that style. So Krityaha Prang Nulaha, it's an Adhikara. It's Adhikara of this potential, in English what we call them potential participles. Kritya. So Krityam is Kartum Yogyam Krityam. From 3195 is Prang Nulaha, up to Nul. So Nul will come in 31133. So up to 31132 is the avadhi, is the limit of this Adhikara, 31132. So there are the three main pratyas coming here. We won't go in all the Tavya, Aniya, those are two. And then comes this three kinds of Ya. Achoyat, then Ruhalor Nyat is coming there, and then some exceptional dhatus take the pratyaya Kyap. So let me put this in the document here. This is all in this section from 3195 to 31132. If you scan that section, that is a nice, short, sweet section where you have the potential participles. So potential participles called Kritya Pratyaya Panini. They are, easy to handle. Potential participles, they are called, Kritya Pratyayas. Kritya Pratyaha. Krityaha, we can simply make it. Krityaha. And that's the Adhikara from 3195 to 132. Okay. And the three Pratyas that are given there are the Tavya, Aniya, and then there are the Ya, the Tavya, Aniya, and Ya. But the Ya is of three kinds. Ya is of three kinds. So Tavya is the one, like Kartavyam. Kartavyam you already know. Same thing, Karaniyam, the Aniya Pratyaha. So Karaniyam is Aniya Pratyaha. And then also there is a Ya, like Karyam, Krityam, Bhojyam, Lakshya. You know, so all these you have this, the very, very common words. Deyam, you know, Peyam, so all these words. But the Ya is of three kinds. And depending on the Anubandha Bhedaha, depending on the differences of the Anubandhas. So this is going to be either Acho Yat. So as a default, Dhatu is ending in a Va will take the Pratyaya Yat, Acho Yat. Now what do we have right now? We have the Pratyaya Vachyam. So Vachyam is Dhatu is Vach, Chakaranta. So we don't need Acho Yat because that is Achaha. So with Dhatu ending in an Ach, we don't have that. We have Dhatu Vach right now. So anyway, Acho Yat, then Ru Halor Nyat. So Dhatu ending in R, like Karyam, Haryam, these like, you know, a word like Bharya also. Bharya also comes from this. So Ru Halor Nyat. So that is what will fit up for us because we have Dhatu ending in a Hal. Ru Halor Nyat. So Nyat. And then there are some exceptional, some list of Dhatus which take the Pratyaya Kyap. There are three. Kyap. Okay. Very quickly for you, I want to mention one more point is that, see, normally when you have the Pratyayas in the same meaning, they will tend to overrule each other. So, for example, as a general situation, you can only have either the Yat or the Nyat or the Kyap for any given Dhatu, not two or three of them. Only one of them will come for any Dhatu. But the Tavya and Aniya will also come for the Dhatu in the same. So you will have three forms. You know, you can have Vaktavya. So Dhatu Vach will come Vaktavyam. This is to be spoken. So Vachaniyam also will be there. You'll also have Vachyam. Three form. Also one more thing is just because you can derive a form by Panini's Vyakaranam doesn't mean it will be in usage all the time. The Vaktavyam might be a much more common form than Vachaniyam. They might also have slight shades of meaning difference. Okay, so Vyakaranam will not give you the full authority. Finally, the ultimate judgment is the Shishta Prayogas. So Vyakaranam tells you that these forms can be used. It doesn't mean all of them will be used all the time without any difference. That is not the case. They will have shades of the variations. But the bottom line still is that you can use Vaktavya, you can use Vachaniya, you can use Vachyam. Now, how can all three of them coexist in the same meaning of the same dhatu? And that's what I want to point out to you is that this sutra which Panini says is that Vasarupo Striyam. So in this entire section of the participles, all the participles, if they can have, they will Va Asarupaha. Asarupaha means if it's not Samana Rupam. So between the Tavya, Aniya and the Ya, it's not Samana Rupam. Clearly Tavya has different letters, Aniya has different letters, but within the 3 Yas, it's Sarupaha. So between the Yat and the Nyat and the Kyap, they are Sarupa Pratyayas. Sarupa Pratyayaha. They have the same Anubandha Lopa, remove the Anubandhas. Only Ya is left behind. So then only one of them can stay, not all three of the same dhatu. So Va, Asurupaha, Astriyam. So not only Striyam, the Striyam comes in the 3394 to 34, 33122. So barring that section, other participles, if they're not Sarupaha, they can coexist. They can coexist. So the Striyam is from 3394. So I just want to point it out quickly is that in all these participles, if they are not Sarupa Pratyayaha, not the same Pratyayaha, same letters, then they can coexist after the same dhatu in the same meaning. So you will have 3 forms, Vaktavya, Vachaniya, and Vachyam. Now to derive the form Vachyam is very easy because all you have to do is because Ruhal or Nyat, put the number down there, Ruhal or Nyat will be in this section from the, let's try to find this. It goes up to 130. So Ruhal or Nyat will come here. It's 31134, 31124, sorry. 31124, you have Ruhal or Nyat. So you just take the dhatu vach and then add the pratyaya nyat anubandha lope, you get the ya only will remain behind, and so I'll put that in bracket. So you have the ya, and of course you'll do the atopadhaya, vriddhi, atopadhaya. I'm going to keep on repeating all these steps for you. Hopefully they'll become second nature for you as you hear them 1,000 times. Is any pratyaya which has this na, which is the ta varga panchama, or the nya, which is cha varga panchama, as an it. And if the upadha is a short akara, in the angam, the upadha is shorter, it takes vriddhi, atopadhaya. 72116 atopadhaya. So the moment you have this, this again you learn to appreciate the ashtadhyayi structure. Is in Adhyay 3, 4, and 5, we put all the blocks in place. You either have the dhatu and pratyaya, or you have the prajapadikam and pratyaya, and then we all do the interaction between those two. We need to interact. Then you have to go to chapter 6, 7, 8, and do the interact. That's the basic Panini's structure of the Ashtadhyayi. Is put the blocks in place in chapter 3, 4, 5, then do the interaction and kind of finish up the form in chapter 6, 7, 8. So very roughly speaking. So we put the pratyaya in place. Now we're going to go 7, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1, 6 and do atopadhaya, do the vriddhi of the and so atopadhaya is there. Atopadhaya means if you have the shorter as upadha penultimate, and the pratyaya has this cha varga panchama nya or ta varga panchama na as an it, one of these two, the nya or the na. Then it takes vriddhi, become vach, then just join, become vacham. So then I'll just put use 72116 to get vacham. Okay, one last thing for you is that this word. Now, how do you get the form vakyam then? Because if you got vachyam over here, then how we get vakyam? Is there also a similar thing to this or not? Okay. Now that has a special rule. That also I wanted to point is when the kavarga adesha, that is a section that Panini has in 7.3. The 7.3 section Panini starts from I think 7.352. Chajoho ku ghinyatoho. And in that he puts this sutram. Let's see. There should be a sutram here for the word. Here it's 7.367. Vacho shabda sanyayam. Vacho shabda sanyayam is that 7.352 is saying what? It's saying that chajoho. If you have a chakara or jakara, chajoho, it takes the kavarga adesha and ghinyatoho. When the pratyaya is ga as an it or the pratyaya nyat. We just use nyat right now. We have used the pratyaya nyat to get the form vacham. So then 7.352 is telling us you have to make the cha into ka and make it into vakyam. So now we have a problem now because 7.352 is kavarga adesha praptaha. Is the kavarga adesha wants to come by 7.352 now. So we have to figure out some way to stop that. And anuvritti of na goes from 7.359 onwards. So from 59, Pani says, no, don't do this kavarga adesha. And one of the sutrams there is that if this dhatu vach is there, ashabda sanyayam, it's not a noun form. It's not a noun. Shabda sanyayam is not a noun form, very roughly speaking. Then don't do the kavarga adesha. So the 7.367 comes and stops 7.352. So 7.352 should have. So there are two ways you can try to remember this. Is that the word vakyam is there, so you can try to analyze how that became vakyam, this became vachyam. And if you can remember, maybe the sutram is also very common sutram. 7.352 you should know. 7.367 you can look it up because 7.352 is being stopped by 7.357. 67. I'm sorry. 7.367 stops 7.352. 7.352 says chajoho ku ghinyatoho. Chakara jakara, take the kavarga adesha. If the pratyaya following is ga and it, which we don't have, or the pratyaya is nyat, we do have nyat. The cha should have become ka. But in 67, Pani specifically says for the dhatu vach. That's what I'm saying. 7.352 has a much bigger domain. It's a much bigger domain, which we'll be using, which we'll be using many times. While the 67 is only for the single dhatu vach. So that, you don't have to remember that one, But this 52, if you can try to remember, is the chajoho ku ghinyatoho. And of course, that will give us the wrong form. That means there must be something to stop that. This is how you learn Vyakaranam, is that you try to apply rules that you know. And if you get stuck, there must be something to, to stop that rule. So 7367 says that the dhatu vach, you only make the kavargadesha when you want to make the noun vakyam and not adjective vakyam. 7367. So I'll put that in a document, then we'll go on to the next word. So a few things we learned about the kritya pratyaya. Okay, one last thing also I should tell you is that, what is that? That is that all krit pratyayas as a default, they come in kartari arthe. So vachyam would then mean the one who's speaking. Clearly that's not the meaning here. It is fit to be spoken. It's to be spoken. It's a passive sense. Now how do we get that? Because, anyway, let me just finish this one here. Stops. So the cha does not change to, just make this document as clear as possible, I think there are more people listening to the recording than to the class, The thing with these web classes is that more people come for the recording than the class. So the document has all important. It does not change to ka. Okay. Now, kartari krit. Vispanjani says kartari krit. So any krit pratyaya, of which the krityas are a subsection, we already saw that. The kritya is a subsection of krita. Should be kartari arthaya, which is not what we have. We don't have that. So 3467 says, so always keep in mind 3467. Kartari krit is any krit pratyaya as a default comes kartari arth. It's the agent of that verb, kartari krit. And we don't have that. So now because it is fit to be spoken. So then below comes this sutram 3470, tayoreva krityak tak kalarthaha. The kritya pratyaya which we have just used right now can be used tayoreva. Anuvritti is coming of the bhava karmanoho. It can only be used in the impersonal passive or in the passive with an object. So it can only be used in the passive form. So the kritya, the kta, and the kal pratyayas can only be used in the passive form. So that kartari krit is stopped by 3470. So please get into this habit. The moment you krit pratyaya, look at 3467, first kartari krit. If that's what you have, then you're fine. If you don't have, which many times you will not, then look below that, and you will find, exceptions to that. Okay. So 3467. So 3470 stops 3467. And then we shouldn't have to go through all the details all the time, but it's good to repeat for people who are new. Overrules. I should say overrules. Overrules. Overrules the 3467 to give us the passive form. Okay, and that's how you know that the karta has going to tritya vibhakti there. Because that's also, if you look at the shloka which has been given, this is the karta, mauhurtikaihi janaihi vachyam. Mauhurtikaihi janaihi vachyam. So, word muhurtam. Muhurtam means like, the appropriate time or proper time, So this mauhurtika is the pratyaya, I think probably thak or tain has been added. It's a tadita from muhurta. From muhurta, you add the tadita pratyaya to give mauhurtika. So I'll give you, we won't go in detail because we are not done in tadita that much. So, I don't want to spend too much time on that. But actually, if you look at Apteji also, he has given the sutram. See, Apteji will not give the Spani sutram. So only sometimes the pratyaya is stuck. Sutram is, I think, 4 to 60 is a sutram. I won't go in detail, but you take muhurta, add the pratyaya thak. Now what is thak? Thak is that the sutram got tasya ikaha. The tha becomes ika. Tasya ika. The tha becomes ika. So 4 to 60 is the sutram, which you have the pratyaya tha. And this is a long, it's basically when you add tadita pratyaya, we only spend 2 minutes. You need to know 3 things. Which prakriti can take it? So which pratipadikam can is allowed to take the pratyaya, what is the pratyaya and what meaning is it coming? What meaning is it coming? So the meaning, and these three items generally will not be in the same sutram. Panini might just give a pratyaya as anuvritti goes from here to here. So now it doesn't tell you which Pradipika can take it. Of course, if nothing is said, all can take it. If nothing is said, all can take it. Any Pradipika can take it. So here we have the pratyaya thak. In the meaning of the prior sutram gives us the meaning. Tad adhite tad veda. Means one who studies that or one who knows that. So one who knows this shastram, Murta Bodhakam Shastram. Someone who knows the proper times of different things. Astronomy. One who knows astronomy, is he one who studies that or one who knows that? In that meaning this pratyaya can be used. Now who can take this pratyaya? That is given in this 3 to 4 to 60 as kratu, ukthadi, sutranta, thak. It has to be either a kratu, anta, which we don't have. Then ukthadi is a gana. So these gana are many times flexible ganas. In the ukthadi gana, you may find the word muhurtam, you may not find it also. So even if you don't find it, you have to, from the Shishta Prayoga, you have to take it as it is. Then sutra, word again in sutra, which we don't have sutra right now. So this 4 to 60, this tak pratyaya can be used in this meaning, tadadhitya tadveda. And it has to be either the kratu anta shabda, which we don't have, uktadi, which is probably what we have, and sutra also we don't have. So the pratyaya tak, and then the tak has kurs in it. So the sutram which says, first of all, the kurs and it is going to do the adi vruddhi for us, make the mu into mau, and also the ta becomes ika, tasya ikaha. This is what makes Panini kind of little bit mysterious. That is you have to demystify it, because if you read in the book tak, if you don't know any vyakaranam, what is tak? So what is the tak got to do with mahurtika? It doesn't make any sense. So because if you know some basic things like tasya ikaha, you're not so scared about it anymore. If you know tasya ikaha, then okay, I know ta becomes ika. So what's the big deal? Tasya ikaha. Then why does Panini say don't know ika all the time? Because he wants to save the syllables. He wants to save the syllables. And also he'll have different pratyaya, he'll have tak, tai, there'll be different kinds of tas. And by saying tasya ikaha, Panini puts in one place tasya ika, one sutram. Then everywhere else he's going to say one syllable. He's just saying ika, 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 ika all the time. He don't say ta, 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 ta. So tasya ikaha. Okay. Now that the tasya ikaha sutram is coming in 7350 tasya ikaha. So 7350 Panini makes the adesha tasya ikaha. So let's finish up this form. Now one more thing interesting here. What are the it letters in tak? Anybody in the class? In the pratyaya tak, what are the it letters? You should know that. Let's see. Many people should know the answer to this. Let's see. Indu knows the answer to this. Let's see, Indu.
Chutu?
So chutu. Why is the t not an it letter?
It's not an it letter. I don't know. It's adi.
But it's adi. So Indu is right. By the sutra chutu, you have the chavarga.
But it's not
it is a pratyaya.
Pratyaya.
So all the conditions are satisfied. So by the sutram chutu, the tha should be an it. The tha should be an it. But if you do that, then the sutram tasya ika will have no meaning. If you make the tha as an it, then just like the lasya adhikara that we have, we don't apply lashakvatadjite. Because even though it is applicable, we don't apply lashakvatadjite for all the lakaras. Because if you do that, then lasya will have no meaning. And also it doesn't have any purpose also, that la is in it. So same thing here. The point I'm trying to make for you is that even though chutu says that in the pratyaya tak, the tha should be an it, but if you do that, then the sutram tasya ikaha, if Pani says in place of tha put ik, that will not apply anywhere. So the tha will be an it all the time. So that's how we stop chutu. So anyway, I just want to make sure you're thinking about these things. So 7-3. Okay, Vasu has a question. Yes.
Then ik is the ith letter.
Lead letter is ka.
Ka, that is halantyam.
Halantyam, correct. That one is there. The ka is an it, but the ta is not an it, even the chutu would have applied. Which
And ta by definition is e.
The ta is replaced by ika.
Ik,
So
not
actually that just the ta becomes ik, and then the akara is already there, becomes, so ta becomes ika. So the tasya ika says that only the takara becomes ik. So the ta becomes ika. So what we have is, okay, let me just put this in the document just to make it all clear for you. So you have the word, okay, let's do it like this. So let's come here. So you have to start with the word muhurta. Let's start from there. So muhurta, okay, and then we put the pratyaya because one who studies that or knows that. So he has to, this is the object of the studying or the knowing. So muhurta plus and then you put the pratyaya thak. Okay, now the thak is equal to what? Is equal to basically is equal to the tha plus the plus the ka. And by halantyam the ka is an it. And by 7350 puts the ik in place of tha. In place of tha. So then what you have is that, so you get the, if I take this down, of course the goes away by 2471 by the sutram is supo dhatu pratipadika yoho. Inside of pratipadikam, you cannot have a sup inside of pratipadikam. And because of krit tadita samasascha, when you make it as tadita anta shabda rupam, which gets a pratipadika sanya, and by 2471 the inside is going to be removed. Removes the So really bringing and removing the does not do any purpose for us here right now, but we should still go through the steps. So we copy this down, and now what we're going to have is that we have muhurta plus ika, because we had, or maybe I'll put it like this. I will just make it like this. Okay. So we have muhurta plus ika, because only the ta became ik, and the was already there. So we have muhurta plus ik plus which is ika, because only ta become ik. Now, when you add into this pratyaya, for sure, what is the cause in it going to do for us? Which always add, because pratyekasya itaha prayojanam asti. So every it letter has a prayojanam. Every it letter has a prayojanam, So there's no it without a prayojanam. So kakarasya prayojanam kim iti vartavyam, iti prashtavyam. You have to ask, what is the prayojanam of the cause in it? And this last sutram is 7.2, says kiticha. Is in taditas, this is also very confusing. In taditas, if you have the cause in it, you can do the vriddhi of the adi ach. So the mu becomes mau. The mu becomes mau because of the cause in it. Now remember, when we add the krut pratyayas, or after any pratyayas from dhatus, then the kiniticha stops guna vriddhi. It's very, very confusing. So when we add pratyaya after dhatus, the cause and it actually stops guna vriddhi by 115 kiniticha. But when you add the cause as an it in a tadita pratyaya, then that cause actually does the adi vriddhi. So this you have to keep in mind. So when you're adding a tadita pratyaya with cause and it causes the vriddhi of the adi ach. When you add a pratyaya after a dhatu with cause and it, that will stop any guna vriddhi which might have been applicable. Okay. So 72118, we are going to use that to, and that is the kiticha. Now the work of 4 to 60, the work is I'll put that here. So here itself we use, but this was done by 4 to 60. The 4 to 60, the sutram, again the same style, but you go to chapter 3, 4, 5 to put the blocks in place, to put the pratyaya in place. And then you go to chapters, 6, 7, 8 to finish up the form. So 4 to 60 told us that you can bring the pratyaya thak in the meaning of one who studies that or one who knows This is the Muhurta Sambandhi Shastram, Muhurta Bodhaka Shastram. You can use that pratyaya. Then now we're going to come to the 7211, whatever that number was, I think 118 it was, that is going to do the Adi Vriddhi. So with 72118, we get the Adi Vriddhi of the U going to become Au. So we'll put that here. So let me take this down, copy that, and put that down. Make it Mau. So we're getting there now. Slowly we're getting there. So we're getting bits and pieces of this. So it's going to become Mau. In fact, that's also a trademark of Taditas, because anything which no is in it, the Chavarga Pancham, or Nyu is in it, Chavarga Pancham, or Ku is in it, any one of these is in it will cause the Adi Vriddhi. Of course, not all pratyas will not have one of the three in it, but many of them do. So if you see that, if you look at a Prajabadikam, which has taken an Adi Vriddhi, then you might suspect that Tadita pratyaya might be there. And then you also know that pratyaya must have either the Ka is in it, or the Na is in it, or the Nya is in it. So we have Mauhurta plus Ika. Now all we need is to remove the A at the end of the Mauhurta. If we do that, we're going to get Mauhurtika. If we don't do that, we're going to get the Adguna, which is what we don't want. So this is also one more thing I mentioned to you many times, repeat one more time, is when you add any pratyaya, which is a swadi, the angam will get either the bhasanya or the padasanya, except sarvanamasthani. Sarvanamasthani only comes in the sup pratyaya, those, which you use to form the, vibhakti pratyayas. But here in the taditas, there is no sarvanamasthana. Sarvanamasthana is a sanya pada pratyaya, and that does not come in tadita pratyaya. So the moment you are in tadita pratyaya, the angam gets the padasanya by default by 1417, swadishva sarvanamasthane. But then next sutram is yachibham. Yachibham tells us that if the pratyaya begins with the ach or a ya, angam gets the bhasanya, which is what we have. We have the pratyaya ika now, ika. So we get the bhasanya, and once we get the bhasanya, then the routine from 64129 to end of 64 gets stripped up. That comes to check out. So one more time, if you have tadita pratyaya beginning with a ya or an ach, then you apply 1418 yachibham to give the bhasanya for the angam. And once that is done, immediately comes the routine from 64129 to end of 64 to check out this form and see if anything applies there. And there's one sutram there, yes cheticha, which you have used a few times already anyway. Yes cheticha. Yes cheticha, if you have the, what does yes cheticha say? If you have the ivarnantanga or avarnantanga, if you're one of these two, tadite ikare cha pare. So if the pratyaya is tadita or a long ikara, which we have tadita right now, and the anga is bhasanya, then angasya lopasyat, alontyasya. So the ending avarna or ivarna of the angam is lost if the angam has a bhasanya, and the following pratyaya either a tadita or a long sti pratyaya. So we can apply 64148. So I'll just put these numbers down here. Then use 64148, actually 1418 to give the bhasanya, and then 64148 to remove that ending a of muhurta, because otherwise you cannot get the form mauhurtika. So that finally will give us the form mauhurtika. So that's how this form is formed. Okay, now if you don't want to remember all of this, the simple thing is that you know the word muhurtam. You see the mau coming in there, mau. So, and you see some ika is being added at the end. You should suspect this is going to be tadita form. And then after that, you can go to a dictionary and look it up. Which sutra is being applied. You can go to there are bigger, bigger than not bigger, but more kind of technically involved dictionary than Aptes. There are like Shabda Kalpadramaha and all the dictionaries. They give you actually a sutram, and you can also go to the commentaries on Amar Kosha, by the way. This sutram in Amar Kosha has the word Mauhurtika. Most of the many common words are in Amar Kosha. And Amar Kosha has, many tikas on that. So they will give a sutram also for that. Okay. So if you just know the word Muhurta, which I think most of you know, and you see the mu changing to Mau, Adi Vriddhi has taken place, It's going to be most like Tadita Pratyaya is there. Go to Amar Kosha commentary, it'll give you the sutra number, and then of course you have to know Tasya Ikaha, and then try to do as many steps as you can. So Mahurtika. Okay, one last point I want to make is that normally sannyas don't overrule each other. They can coexist. They can coexist. But in the beginning of 141, Panini puts the condition is that Akadara Eka Sanya. So in 1.4, 2.1 and 2.2, whatever sanya is defined, only one of them can exist at the same time. As a general rule, any sanya defined in 1.4, 2.1 and 2.2, within that section, they can coexist. Sanyas from outside, they can coexist. But if there are two sanyas defined in the same section from 1.4, 2.1, 2.2, then eka sanya, only one can remain. Then of course that's how, because samanyena sanyanam apavadaha utsargaha vyavastha, utsarga apavada vyavastha nasti. So there is nothing like an apavada for sanyas normally. But because of the, I want to just use adhikara of the 141, Panini starts the adhikara which says that akadarad eka sanya, akadara, up to the word kadara. The kadara comes in end of 2.2. So 1.4, 2.1, 2.2. That is the adhikara. See, kadara is the last sutram in 2.2. Only one sanya can remain. That is why this yachibham. Otherwise, we can see can have both sanyas. What's the problem? It's not like a vidhi. It's not like an operation where the conflict is there. If you have to do an operation, there's a conflict. You can only do one or the other. You cannot do both operations at the same time. Maybe there might be a conflict. But sanyas, what's the problem? They can both exist at the same time. For example, even right now they're coexisting. If you look at our example right now, we have this muhurta has the sanya pratipadikam. It has sanya of angam. So those are defined outside of 1.4. So they can coexist. But the padasanya and bhasanya are both defined in 1.4. So that's why the yachibham, when it came, it bumped up, it took away the padasanya. And only the bhasanya remained because of the eka sanya adhikara. Because we use 1.4.18 or yachibham. Yachibham 1.4.18. Okay, so let's go back to the shloka. So Mohurtikaihi Janaihi is qualifying Janaihi. So by the astronomers, I guess it has to be said, what has to be said is long life. Long life is to be said. So they should always advise that the person will ask, when it comes to a question about longevity, those who know, the Mohurtikas, they should always advise, they should always say long life. Why? Because jivantaha bahumanyante. So Pratipadikam jivat. Jivat is Pratipadikam. So jivantaha is masculine nominative plural. Jivantaha bahumanyante. Bahu is an adverb here. So they think very highly. Man is to think. Manyante, of course, is a third person plural. Atmanipadam rupam. And this is bahuvachanam manyante. So they jivantaha, those who are living, Pratipadikam jivat, like pachat. The numagama is coming here by jivat Pratipadikam, and the numagama is coming because the vidacham sarvanama sthane dhato. The numagama won't go through already. I think you should already probably know this by now, but even if you don't, you can look it up. But we're using 7170 to make the numagama. Vidacham sarvanama, because the pratyaya shatru is being used. The shatru has a ru as an it. So vidacham sarvanama sthane dhato. So the sarvanama sthana is falling because sarvanama sthana is what? Sudhanapumsakasya. Sudhanapumsakasya. So in the feminine and masculine, those first 5 vibhakti endings, which is the sup ending, su, au, jas, out, they get the sarvanama sanya, sarvanama sthanam. Sarvanama sthanam. This is also very confusing by the way. Sarvanama shabdaha is called a pronoun. Sarvanama sthanam is this kind of what we call the strong endings, we can call in English. So they are the first 5 in the masculine and feminine. In the neuter, it's only the prathama and ditya bahuvachanam. So shi sarvanama sthanam and shrunapumsakasya. So these are the 2 sutras which will point define what is sarvanama sthanam. And as I said to you, when Pani defines sanya, of course he's going to use it somewhere. So sanyaya prayojanam asti eva. So everything has a prayojanam in the shastra. Otherwise it should not be done. So So Pani says Shi Sarvanama Sthanam and Sudanapumsakasya. These are two sutras, and I'll give the number for that. And Shi Sarvanama Sthanam is going to be first adhyaya, 1142, 1143. So 1143, 1143 define what is Sarvanama Sthanam. Be very careful. These are only the sanya which comes for these supratyas, some of them. And the first 5 is going to be in the feminine and masculine, and only the nominative and accusative dual, plural, only she in the napumsake. So 1142, 1143 defined as Sarvanama Sthana Sanya. And when that comes, which we do have it, because the word Jivantaha. So Jivantaha is a masculine nominal plural form. Pratyaya is jas. So we get the su, au, jas. So that's going to be Sarvanama Sthana Sanya for the Pratyaya by the 1143. And then that's going to lead us to 7170 to give the Numma Agamaha. Ugitacham Sarvanama Sthane Dhatoho. By 7170, it says Ugitacham, Ugit. The Pratyaya Shatru had the R as an it. So that's what is going to give us the Numma Agamaha. Ugit and then Acham, Dhatu Ach is there. So either anything with Ug as an it or the Dhatu Ach, Ugitacham. Sarvanama Sthane should have one of these 5 pratyas following in the feminine or masculine. And or it could be the neuter plural form in Prathamaditya, Bhakti. Adhato should not be a dhatu over there, so we have a Paripadikam. So that's how so Jivat becomes so that Ugit should not be a dhatu's Ugit, okay. That Ugit should be that pratyas Ugit. So then we get the Jivat, and then once you have that, then you can just come and join it. So we had a Jivat, and also Numma Agamaha. What we use the sutram today, Vidachontyatmaraha. So when it comes to the last ach in the form in the Numma Agamaha. Agama, if you look at Num, the Num, the Halantyam, Mo is an it, and then the Upade Ajanunasika it, only Na remains behind. Clearly the U is for Uchcharanartham, to make pronunciation easy. The Ma is to tell you where to put the Agamaha. It will go after the last vowel in the term. So after Jivat, the last vowel is Jiva, that O is the last vowel. So we have Jivat plus we had just Pratyaya here. So that's going to become G1. So Numma Agamaha, plus you're going to get the Ta, and then of course you have the As remaining behind, and then the Pratyaya Jas. So that's how we get the form Jivantaha. Here also you have to actually technically do the Naschavadantasya Jali Anuswaraha, Anuswarasya Parasavaranaha. You have to apply those two sutrams, because you have to technically still make the Na into Anuswaraha in the Tripadi Karyam and put back into the Parasavaranaha. Don't forget to do that. Even if you get back the same form, but you should always follow these two steps. What I'm talking about is the Anuswara Parasavaranaha. So Naschavadantasya Jali. Naschavadantasya Jali comes in the 8.3, I think 24 probably. Yeah, so 8.3.24. Naschavadantasya Nakarasya Makarasya. Apadantasya Jali Pare. So we have Nakara followed by Ta. So you should make Anuswara by 8.3.24. Then go to the end of 8.4, make the Parasavaranaha. So put the Nakara back there by 8.3. Anuswarasya Parasavaranaha. So you should apply this 8.3.24 and 8.4.58 to put the Nakara back there. So apply 8.3.24, 8.4.58 to put the Makara. And it looks trivial at this point, but it has important implications. Because what if you have any sutram in between 8.3.24 and 8.4.58, it will see the Anuswara only. It will not see the Nakara. Nakara will be protected. So the Nakara kind of jumps from 8.3.24 to 8.4.58. The Na goes away and comes back. So it escapes all the sutras in between. Most importantly, sutram like Chunashtuhu and all these, this Chunashtuhu, it escapes all of that. Not only that, in the beginning of 8.4 come all the sutras which change the Na to Na, Murdhanyadesha. But because it escapes that also. Of course, it doesn't apply here, but it will have importance. So you should always make it the Anuswara Parasavarana. So Jivantaha is those who are living. Jivantaha is Bahu is here used as an adverb. So you'll have to make it as a, so Kriya Visheshananam, so it says Klibata Ishyate. Klibata, and it should be, see, Kriya Visheshanam can be any adjective. I think Hari has a question. Yes, Hari?
Yes, Satishji.
Yes.
I was wondering, for Jivantaha, why don't we use Nopadayaha Sarvanamastane cha Sambuddhau?
No Padhaya. Let's look at that. So you want to make it what? You make it into a, let's see. So which sutram are you talking about? A 648. Right? 648. Correct. 648. Let's see what it says. No Padhaya. 648. 648. Let's go there. No Padhaya. 648. So what example of 648 do you have that 648 applies?
Usually we apply it in Phalani, right? Like Phalam Phale Phalani.
So Savanavasthani cha Sambuddha is what you want to use, right? Is that what you want to use?
Yeah.
Savanavasthani cha Sambuddha. Let's see what is Savanavasthani. The best way to answer this question is let's see what the vritti of Savanavasthani cha Sambuddha says, Then
No Padayaha.
So no Padhaya. But then when you have the so no Padhaya means what? The Upada should be na, or the Upada prior to na becomes Dirgha. What does it mean? Look at the vritti of 648. So 648, in fact, we can go to a document that we have. So let's say the word Phalani, right? When you get Phalan, right? And then you do the Upada becomes, the Upada before the na becomes Dirgha.
Right.
See, now right now we have Takaranta Pradvasham. We have Jivanta. So we don't have a Nakaranta Angam. We have Takaranta Angam right now.
Okay.
See, no Padhaya will apply when you have a Angam ending in na, right? Because if you look at 648, the let's see, let me just go to. In fact, let me open a document right so everybody can follow. You can go to 648. Let's go to 648. The always check the vritti. Always check the vritti of which sutram you are trying to apply. Yeah. It's a good question. Let's look at the vritti and see what it says. Because sometimes the sutras are very cryptic, They don't give us the Sarvanamastane cha Sambuddha. Let us see what it says. It says that Sarvanamastane parata, we do have that. Asambuddha, we have that. No padaya dirgha bhavati. Like Rajan. So nakarasya upada we need to have. See, the nakara should be just before the Sarvanamasthana pratyaya. We have takaranta right here, Hari. That's the problem.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I got into the habit of practicing for the neuters, and we usually do the num agama and immediately come here.
Yeah,
so
but the neuter, that num can happen to be the end of the angam. See.
Right.
So this one is coming in because the Midoshan is going inside. So that's why no, they didn't apply here.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, thank you. So Hari was asking the question why you don't apply 648. The 648 requires the angam to end in nakara, and then you have the Savanamastane pare, which is not sambuddhi. Then the upada of the na becomes dirgha, like Raja now. When you like Rajan becomes, then Rajan plus the just will become Rajanaha. But right now we have our numagama went inside because we have Padivadingam ending in the takara. So we don't apply 648. Okay. So what are we talking about? We are talking about this. So you do the Parasavarna and the Anuswara Parasavarna becomes Jivantaha. The Bahu is going to be an adverb because adverbs, any adjective, which is can be used in the neuter accusative singular to become an adverb. There's a Vartikam for that which says that Kriya Visheshananam, so Klivata Karmatvam Chaishyate. So it will be neuter. It will also be Dvitiya Ekavachanam. Like for example, Sukham Jivati. Sukham Jivati and Gita Dukkham Aptama Yogataha. Yo Yukto Brahmana Shinadi Gachati. Yo Yukto Vishuddhatma Vitavicindya. I think it's chapter 5. Chapter 5, Dukkham Aptum. So it can be obtained with difficulty. It can be obtained with difficulty. Let me look chapter 5 of Gita. So Samam Dhavati. he runs with an even speed, you know. Pricham vasati, he lives with difficulty. So any of these, so when you see a neuter in the Dvitiya Ekavachanam, and it is not qualifying any other noun, then try look for Kriya Visheshanam. Because this is, otherwise you'll be wondering, you know, what is this neuter singular form doing there? It's not qualifying any pratipadikam. Here it is. Sanyasastu mahabaho dukkham aptuma yogataha. Dukkham aptum does not mean you obtain sorrow. Okay. Otherwise you can say dukkham aptum, to obtain sorrow. No, it doesn't mean that. Dukkham is there a kriya visheshanam for the dhatu ap. Dukkham aptum is krichena aptum ayogataha. Dukkhena aptum. Dukkhena also can be used. So dukkham, so if you see a neuter form, which is going to be in the Dvitiya Ekavachanam, it is not qualifying anything, it doesn't fit with any other noun, think of Kriya Visheshanam, okay? And some of these can be compounds also, very tricky. Some of them can be compounds. So anyway, so what we have right now is this word Bahu is, you know, it's not like they think of a lot of things. They think highly. They think highly. That li is the Kriya Visheshanam. So Bahu is a Kriya Visheshanam. You'll put in a document maybe. This is important. Otherwise, you know, some of these really trip you off in a shloka. So we're trying to decipher this thing, and this form doesn't make any sense. So neuter accusative singular forms can be used as adverbs. Accusative singular forms can be used as adverbs. For example, the word Bahu right now is like that. Of course, Bahu comes in Gita also. Bahuni. Okay, so Bahuni comes in Gita in many places. The word Bahu comes in Bahu places. Okay, so that was the word Bahu. So means they think highly, manyante. Mritaha, Mritaha is also is those who are dead. Prakshanti kyam kam punaha. So those who are dead, who are they going to ask again? Then again. Punam is then again. Those who are dead, who will they ask? Because they're already dead. So this is the a sarcastic statement. So jivantaha bahumanyante. Those who are living, they think very highly of you. And mrutaha punaha. So again, those who are dead, kam prakshanti. Kam is dhatu, the padipadikam. Kim, it is the napumsakalinge dvitiya ekavachanam. So prakshanti kam. Prakshanti dhatu pracha. So let's go through that one quickly. So mrutaha, those who are dead, who are they going to ask? Who are they going to ask? The word mruta, as I mentioned to you, this we already saw a sutram today, which is tayoreva kutyakta kalarthaha. This pratyakta comes in the passive form. But mrutaha, is the passive form? No. It's one who is dead. He's not being dead on, you know. You cannot make the important anything which is akarmaka. It cannot be a passive form. It cannot be a passive. If we say suptaha, he is sleeping. Sthitaha, he is standing. He cannot be standed on. Cannot be slept on. So supta means he is sleeping. The boy is sleeping. So sthitaha means he is standing. Same thing, mrutaha means he is dead. It's not like, he is deaded on. So what I'm trying to tell you is that today we use the form tayoreva krityakta kalarthaha. Pratyakta can be used only in the passive, but this 3472 says gatyartha akarmaka. Any akarmaka dhatu. Mru is akarmaka dhatu. You die means someone die means there's no karma for dying. This is akarmaka dhatu. So they can only, obviously they have to be in the active. They cannot be passive, akarmaka dhatus. So this one, the gatyartha, akarmaka, shlisha, shing, sthas, all those dhatus. So anything with gatyartha, like Ramaha, vanam gataha. So Rama has gone to the forest. He has not been gone to. He has gone to the forest. So any gatyartha dhatu, akarmaka dhatu, and a list of some others, these will be used, these gatyartha can be used in the active form, And akarmakas clearly they're going to be active only, they cannot be passive mritaha. So here, so kartari krit, so it's a three-step process. The kartari krit was saying that the krit pratyaha is kartari. So mritaha is one, it would be the agent of the action. Then come 3470 said that no, tayoreva krityakta kalarthaha. The krita pratyaya can be used only in the passive. Then comes 3472 and says if it's akarmaka though, it goes back to the active. So mritaha becomes an active form, one who's dead. It's one who's a mritaha. Now the form prakshanti, I think we already saw that the dhatu is prachya. So we'll do very quickly. I think we did it in the last class. So that's the intent of giving this subhashitam. So we can practice this form, the dhatu prachya when we have. So we had dhatu prachya, and then skipping syatasi lutoho. Syata is a tongue twister. And then we have the pratyaj becomes jvantaha, prakshanti. And now what happens here is that prakshanti. So we had to do this sandhi karyam here. So far we have done the, of course we'll have to do the atogune between the sya and yanti becomes syanti, atogune. So we'll take this down. So the reason I'm doing that now is that before we go to Tripadi, we have to finish all the Sabha Sapta Adhyaya Karyam. Okay, so that now we are trying to finish that up. So between the sya and the yanti become, so overruling the akasamani dirgha comes atogune. So between the short a and the following letter which is guna, we have a plus a. Adeng guna. So that uttaravarti akara has guna sanya. So then pura parayoho is an ekadesha or the pararupam ekadesha syat. So atogune. Otherwise you'll be stuck with akasami dirgha. Now for this rule to apply, if atogune only apply if you have apadanta akaraha only. Otherwise no. So this should be apadanta akaraha followed by the letter which has a guna sanya, which is adeng gunaha. In that case pura parayoho ekadesha is the pararupam ekadesha syat. So atogune is 3197 we used, sorry 6197, and now we can start going to the Tripadi, 6197, and there we already saw this form today with Vrashchetishaha, we use that today. So any dhatu ending in talave shakara, all this shakara with the tuk agamaha, the cha in there, they become the murdhanya shakara. So 8236, 8236, 8236. Jalipadante. Sutram is telling us that vrashcha, srija, mrija, yaja, raja, brajach, chasham. So this chakara with the tukagama which has become the cha, this entire combination is followed by jalipadante because the murdhanya shakara adesha. Of course, after we're going to apply the shadokasi, 8241, the murdhanya shakara will become kakara, and then finally the adesha pratyayoho shatvam, you get the prakshanti. So I'll put the numbers here only, then apply. We already did the steps many times, so just put the numbers for you. 8236 will be the murdhanya shakara, and then 8241 gives the, in place of the murdhanya shakara will come the kakara, and finally 8359 will do the murdhanya shakara addition in place of the sakara of sya. So we'll get the, maybe I should put a couple of steps here. So you get the pra. So first we get the pra, big murdhanya shakara, and then you get the syanti, and then after that you will get the prak, and then the syanti, and then finally you are going to get the and then finally you're going to get the prakshanti, because you're going to have the murdhanya adesha here. So those are the three steps. Okay, so prakshanti. So this is a future tense form. So the whole meaning becomes when asked about how long someone is going to live. So in the matter of when it comes to deciding about longevity, those who are the muhurtikas, who are the astronomers, I guess, they should say vacham. They should say long life. You'll have a long life, because jivantaha bhomanyante. Those who are living, they think very highly of you. And punaha, then again, mrutaha, those who are dead, kam prakshanti, who are they going to ask? So that's why you always say your long life. Anyway, this is kind of a joke. So this is, by the way, look at this KMV. What is it? This is Kavya Mala. This Kavya Mala was a very, very well-edited set of books published by the old Nirnay Sagar Prakashan in Mumbai. From about 18, I would say roughly between like 18, maybe 1870, 1880, all the way up to like 19, maybe 37-ish. So they published this thing called Kavyamala. We have a lot of wonderful, wonderful sutras are there, stutis, prayers, some subhashitams, and a lot of these things are there. And some of them have also commentaries on them. And this has been republished by the Chokamba Press. So it's worth getting and keeping. It's called the Kavyamala. So it has about, I think, 14, 15 volumes. And I think Antoine got permission from them to publish some of this. Some stuff from, it might even be older than 18, because I think this book itself is very old. So it might even be, it might be like 1850 or 1860 onwards, I think. So this Kavyamala is very worth keeping. So, because again, these good books are rare to get nowadays, so it's good to keep them. Okay, next one. Yadanagaram. So this now next one is all composed by the author himself. This is not from any text. It will be slightly easy. We can go a little bit faster now. Yadanagaram yasyatha tadavakasham labdva mama bhratargraham gamishyatha. Okay, so the first thing is to do padacheda. First thing is samyak ucharanam, always the first step. So yada nagaram yasyatha tadavakasham labdva mama bhratargraham gamishyatha. Even if you just keep on reading, good texts will give you a lot of knowledge without knowing anything. Just keep on reading slowly, loudly, clearly. You will a lot of knowledge. So then if you can do padacheda is yada nagaram yasyatha tada avakasham labdva mama bhratuh graham gamishyatha. The short sentence is gamishyatha. So why is that the shortest sentence? That yada is a clause, when, and then tada is hanging. So yada is a subordinate clause. It is not the main sentence. The main sentence is tada, whatever is coming there. So the labdva is a gerund form. As I told you many times, this is samana kartikayoho purvakale. Very useful construct to give you the structure of the sentence very quickly. Is samana kartikayoho purvakale. Samana kartikayoho purvakale. So Panini says that when you have a samana karta, then the action which he does in the purvakala, that will take the pratyaya ktva, labdva. Samana kartikayoho purvakale. This sutram is going to come in the third adhyaya, ashtadhyayi. As I said to you, you have to put all the pratyas in place in the third adhyaya, and then you have to do all the action in the other adhyaya. Samana kartikayoho purvakale is the 3-4-21. Samana kartikayoho purvakale. So now here, who is the samana karta here? It's clearly, it is not in the shloka directly, but you can see from the endings which are being used the word yasyatha and gamishyatha. The tha pratyaya, where do we have it? Tip tas ji, sip tas tha. So tha is the madhyam purusha bahuvachanam of in parasmapade. So parasmapadi rupam. So parasmapadam, we have this form. So now the madhyam purusha can only be the pradipadikam yushmat. Uttam purusha is only pradipadikam asmat. Everybody else is pratham purusha. This has no exceptions. The moment you say gamishyatha or yasyatha, the karta has to be yam. Nobody else. It cannot be anybody else. Because the madhyam purusham, you have to use the pradipadikam yushmad only. And in the uttam purusha, it has to be asmad only. So that is what. So, and this is a little bit different. But in English, when you say, thou shall do this and all that. So that thou is like a you. When we say in Sanskrit, when you say bhavan, that bhavan or the bhavat pradipadikam is a third person. Because of this rule is that to make it second person, it has to be Yushmat. So it cannot be, and these all come in 1.4, Asmad Yuttama, so 1.4, I think 1.4, 107 very quickly. So that is why even though you do not have the subject here in this sentence, it can be nobody else than Yushmat, again, which has to be used in the plural form, where you have Gamishyatha, and so it has to be the plural form of Yushmat. So it can be Prathama Vibhakti, it has to be Yam. So the sutrams are over here. Asmad Yuttamaha, and it says Yushmadi Upapade, Samadhikarane, Sthaninyapi Madhyamaha. Sthaninyapi, even though Yushmad is not clearly mentioned, even if it's implied, you have to use the Madhyam Purusha. The Asmadi Uttamaha, Uttama Purusha only Asmat, and remaining Sheshe Prathamaha, remaining only is Prathama. Pratham Purusha, Prathamaha. So by this, I'll put this in document. So by 1.4.105, the subject of this sentence can only be Yuyam, nobody else. 1.4.105, and it will be normally be left out because no need to say Yuyam. To make it more stylistic, they leave out this one because we'll not keep on repeating it. Can only be Yuyam. Yum is in this case Yuyam because the Prajapati is Yushmat, so we get Yuyam. Okay, so that has to be Samadhakarta of the, Yuyam. Same word in English, right? Yuyam becomes you in English. The Yuyam becomes you. Okay, so the Samadhakarta is Yuyam. So Yuyam, so simple sentence was Gamishyatha. You shall go. Then Avakasham Labdva. So having got a chance, having found some time, you shall go. Where shall you go? Gruham Gamishyatha. So Gruham is the Dvitiya Ekavachanam, Gruham, Gruhe, Gruha, Gruhani. So Gruham is mostly neuter. Once in a while, it is used in the plural in the masculine, but most of the time, Gruha is a neuter Prajapati. Once in a while, you use it in the plural in the masculine also. But here it's going to be just neuter, actually singular, Gruham Gamishyatha. Now Gamishyatha, interesting form is that we saw the dhatu Gam is one of the 4 dhatus in the Makaranteshu, Manteshu, Yamanama Gamarama Chatvaraha. So the Yam, Nam, Gam, Ram. So this is an Anit dhatu. It's an Anit dhatu. Now how is taken the Idagama then? Because Gamishyatha. So Gamishyatha. There must be some sutram between 7.235 and 7.275 which is going to put back the Idagama. So always go through these steps, please. That was 7.210 is the first stop is 7.235. Ardhadhatuka se idvaladehe. So we do have pratyaya which is ardhadhatuka, which is a siya pratyaya because of things is saradhakam, ardhadhatukam sheshaha. It is valadi pratyaya. Valadi is hal minus ya is val. So we definitely have that. So this can take an idagama if the dhatu allows it. Then the first stop which we saw was 7.210, ekach upadesha anudattat, and then by the karikas we have these 103 dhatus or so ending in halantas which are going to be anit dhatus. Among that there are 4 of them ending in ma and 1 of them is gam. So now we are stuck with a situation where there should be no idagama. So all dhatus by default allow idagama unless it is stopped by something. And the 7.28 to 7.234 the in nisheda is coming there. And within that the 7.210 is the one which is our first stop to look at that. So there we are stuck with the anit dhatu. So now we better find something which is going to come from 7.235 to 75 which is put there. And this sutram says gamer it prasme padeshu. So gamer it prasme padeshu. Se sichi. So if the pratyaya is sakaradi, then the dhatu gam allows the idagama prasme padeshu. So that is what we have. So by 7.258 we got the idagama. So please you can really master this section of idagama by practicing. 7 to 58. I think we already referred to this in the class. Okay, time is almost up. Let me just finish this one. So 7 to 58 brought the idagamaha. So brought the idagamaha, but the it in the form gamishyatha. The form gamishyatha. Otherwise, it will be normally it's on it dhatu. Okay, let's try this. I know time is up. It's 9 o'clock. So let us see now. So bhratar is the bhratar padavedikam. Bhratar, like English brother, right? English brother is bhratar. Bhratar brother. Now here, what is the vibhakti shashti ekavachanam? So bhratu plus nyas. So we need something to get this from bhratar, and the sutram is that rita ut. So when this pratyaya nyas or nyasi or nyas, the panchami or shashti ekavachanam follows, when that happens, these rukaranta shabdas, they become u. Then you get uran raparaha and ratsasya. I think we've been through this a few times. I'll give you the sutra number in the same, the puraparayoha ekadeshaha when we do, though there's in 6.1, there's this sutram which says rita ut puraparayoha ekadeshaha. So nyasina soscha, under that will come this one. Under nyasina soscha, we'll get the, that will be coming here. So nyasina soscha is 1, so rita ut is 61111. So use 61111 between the r and the o of nyas. By 61111, we're going to have the ukara adesha, uran raparaha comes and drops the sa raba rat sasya. And I'm going a little bit fast, I know that, but with this you can easily look at all these steps in Vahimi Vyakya. Let's look at the Pradipati ending in r. You can find all these steps. So what we have is that we have bhratr plus pratyanyas anubandha lope will be only us. And then use 63111 to do the, 61, not 63, 61. It's 1111. So between the ru and the akara of the us, you made the puraparayoho ekadeshaha become bhratar. And so bhratu is defined, it comes from that. Didn't go through all the steps, but I think you can fill in the blanks over there, 61111. So, and shashti means you make the sambandha. Always make the sambandha. So sambandha is with graham. And then mama bhrat. So there's another shashti here. Asmat. So my brother's home. So mama sambandha with bhratuh, and bhratu sambandha with graham. And then avakasha is a masculine word, so it's going to be pullinga dvitiya ekvachanam. Tada and yada ravyas. So means they're kalavachakas. So yasmin kale, tasmin kale. So yasmin kale, tasmin kale. I think this all is come in the beginning of 5.3. Panini gives all these taditas become avyayas. In avyayas, tadita is a huge jungle, but there's one good island in that little jungle. There's a nice little island here, and in the 5.3, it says the kale daha. So here we see Advana Chandasi. There you will have the form which says that when you have in the kalartha, you have to use the pratyaya da comes in there. Da. Let's try to find it here. Okay, let me see. Should be here, because that even I don't know exact sutra number. I'll give you the number. And so that the yada and tada, I mean, is in the sense of time. So it means that yasmin kale, tasmin kale. So at the time when you go there, at that time you go to my brother's home. So it's actually 5.3.15 right here. Sarva eka anyad kim yat tadaha. So it's right here. It says the word sarva means sarvada, ekada, anyada, kada, yada, tada. So these words. So I told you, have to know three things. Which Pradipadikan can be used? What is the pratyayaha? In what meaning? So in this particular sutram, you got all three in one sutram. It's pretty rare. So it tells you can use sarva, eka, anya, kim, yat, tad. These can be the pratyaya da in kale, kalate. So yasmin kale, tasmin kale. You get tidadina maha become yat and yada and tada. Then nagaram is, is object of yasyata dhatu is ya. It's anit dhatu. So nothing special. Dhatu yas, anit dhatu yasyatha. Just put the blocks in place and then yasyatha. Nagaram is going to be Dvitiya ekvajanam napumsakalingam. Nagaram, nagare, nagarani. So meaning is that, and yam only can be subject when all of you, when you plural, go to the town. At that time, having found some time, avakasham labdva, you shall go to my brother's home, labdva. Okay, it's a bit of a strange sentence because really that gamishyatha should be more like a load form, isn't it? Please go to my, it should be like please go or go, not you shall go. Okay, anyway, in this lesson we are learning future tense. So, but if you saw this sentence in the regular use, it might be a little bit strange. That gum should probably be a load form. That may sound better. Dhatu labdva also in the bhanteshu. Dhatu lab anit dhatu. So lab plus tva. So here quickly the sutram, the main sutram there is that lab plus tva. To make the ta into dha, it is 8 to 40. So jashastator dhodha. Jashastator dhodha, because lab plus tva. And because we have the jashanta, number 4 ending, the tva becomes dva. So, and then you can jalam just chashi after that. So use 8, 4, 40. Jashastator dhodha. So we'll stop with the class now. So let me give you last sutrams in the form labdva. Please do the steps on your own for homework in 8, 4, 40. So apply in the labdva. You're going to see this form many times, like buddh becomes buddhi, siddh becomes siddhi, lab becomes labdva. So 8 to 40, I'm sorry, did I say 8, 4, 40? 8 to 40. 8 to 40. Jashastator dhodha. Please practice this for homework. That's going to work. So we're going to use the form in labdva 8 to 40. Okay, so we stop the class. Please try to do whatever homework you can in as much detail as you can. Objective is to utilize, as many rules that you know. Even if they're easy rules, doesn't matter. Use them. And then, try to, it's like a puzzle. So the more pieces of the puzzle you get, the better you are doing. And if you don't get it, it's okay. Just post a question maybe. You can always post questions. If you have a problem with the homework, the Kalpesh ji is here. There are other people here who can answer your questions. Okay. We stop the recording and, we'll do the Mangacharam. Ramo Rajamani Sada Vijayate Ramam Ramesham Vijay Ramena Abhiyata Nishachara Chamu Rama Tasmai Namaha Rama Nasti Parayanam Prataram Ramasya Dasosmyaham Rame Chittalaya Sada Bhautame Bho Rama Mamuddhara Rama Rameti Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sasanama Tattalyam Rama Nama Varanane Shri Rama Nama Varanana Undama Iti. Okay.